You've probably heard of the age-old approach of bulking and cutting, where you'll take a phase, a certain period of time where you spend in a caloric surplus in order to gain more muscle, and then a separate phase in a caloric deficit in order to strip back the fat and see the muscle that you've built. But can you do both at the same time? Technically, yes. We call this body recomposition or recomping, but it's not as straightforward as you might think. But just because body recomposition, where the goal is to build muscle and lose fat simultaneously, is possible, it doesn't mean it's going to be the optimal approach for you. But there are certain circumstances where this can work really well. So first of all, if you've never trained before, then that weight training can provide such a new stimulus to your body, something that it's never felt before, that it can actually adapt and grow new muscle tissue really fast, even in the absence of a caloric surplus, because it will take the stored body fat that you have and use that as energy to fuel that muscle building process. Now, this is going to be especially true if you're very overweight and carrying a lot of excess fat, because essentially that fat is stored energy that your body can use, meaning that you can afford to be in a pretty sizable caloric deficit and actually burn a lot of that fat and build muscle at the same time. Now, I've seen some crazy transformations in my time using this method, and it's definitely the best approach if you are new to weight training and you're holding a sizable amount of body fat. So you're going to want to get in the gym, focus on progressive overload, getting stronger, but do that in a caloric deficit, and you can burn off a lot of that stored fat that you don't want and build muscle at the same time. Body recomposition is also pretty easy for those that have trained before, especially if they built a lot of muscle and then had a long break from it, lost some of that muscle tissue, and then coming back into weight training. Even if they're a little bit overweight and want to lose some body fat, that muscle memory will kick in pretty fast and they can build back a lot of that muscle tissue that they had lost before, boost their metabolic rate and lose that fat at the same time. The next one I see quite a lot: if you've been training for a long time, but your diet hasn't been optimal, i.e. you haven't been hitting your protein requirements, you're not fueling the body in the right way, you're not providing it with essentially the building blocks to build that muscle in the first place. So actually, you don't necessarily need to change your overall calorie intake, you just need to take away some fats, some carbohydrates, bump up your protein, and sometimes this is enough to start building some muscle, raise your metabolism, and lose some fat. Now, as a coach, I've seen this with dozens of clients over the years. They've been training, but things haven't been optimal, and once they're provided with a proper training plan, a nutrition plan that suits their needs, and they've stuck to that for a few months, their body starts picking up, building muscle, losing fat, and things sort of start to even out. And then they can decide later on whether they want to continue cutting fat or go into a gaining phase and build some more muscle. Lastly, body recomposition is going to be pretty easy if you're using anabolic steroids and growth hormone and all that kind of stuff. And that goes without saying, but even that slows down after a while unless you're willing to really risk your health and push the doses. Do not despair. If you don't fall into any of these categories, all hope is not lost. You just need to play the long game. So I'm a fan of bulking, but only in two scenarios. One, you're new to lifting, you're pretty underweight, as in you're not carrying too much body fat, but you want to build more muscle. Or you compete as a bodybuilder or men's physique athlete, you step on stage and you're just not where you want to be competitively, so you need to put on more size, do a structured off season to do that, because ultimately, if you're trying to compete against other people and size is lacking, you're going to need to put in that food and get there. And usually most people have one, maybe two good bulking phases in their life before the negatives start outweighing the positives, and it's just not worth bulking up and cutting down like that, because the muscle tissue that you grow is just not worth it. Yes, you will gain weight faster on a bulk, you'll see the scale go up, you'll get stronger in the gym, you'll start filling out your clothes more. But if you've already done a couple of those bulks before, if you've built a lot of muscle already, or if you start at a higher body fat percentage, then a lot of that weight that you're adding is going to be excess fat. And then a lot of people will end up slowing down their metabolism quite a lot towards the end of that bulk, and sometimes just develop an unhealthy relationship with food. Then you're going to have to go through the long process of cutting down, stripping back, and trying to reveal some of that muscle that you've built, or you've hoped you built, because you're not lean enough to see it on the bulk, all while restricting your calories, feeling hungry, feeling irritable, maybe skipping out on social occasions, things you enjoy, meals out with family and friends, barbecues, etc. And again, that further promotes that unhealthy relationship with food and that yo-yo kind of diet. And like I say, beyond those first couple of bulks, or if you're starting the bulk at a higher body fat percentage, say like 15% or above, by the time you've gone all the way through this, up and down, you cut back and you realize you haven't actually gained that much muscle, sometimes none at all. And that whole process has been a complete waste of time. The other option to get in the physique that you want is not the most sexy, but listen up, it is the most optimal approach. Once you've done that initial bulk and that initial cut and you've gained some muscle, you're pretty lean, probably going to decide, because most people do, that you want some more muscle, but actually a second bulk or a third bulk just isn't the best option. Instead, aim to gain muscle slowly, but stay within 1 to 2 percentage points of body fat. Now, this is going to feel like really slow progress, but if you look at the year, if you spent 6 months bulking and then 6 months cutting, and like we said, don't actually gain too much muscle from that process, an entire year spent with a slower approach can actually net more muscle tissue, or at least the same, without the discomfort. You can go out, you can enjoy yourself, you don't have that unhealthy relationship with food. You don't get uncomfortable from stuffing your face on the bulk. You don't get super hungry from cutting back really hard when you're dieting down. And you're also going to make pretty linear progress rather than bulking up, getting stronger, and then sometimes losing a lot of strength on that cut on the way down. This way you can actually enjoy your life year round and be pleased with your physique. Go away on holiday, be proud of what you've done. And the beauty of it is if you do want to get a little bit leaner at some point, that cut is going to be so much shorter and it's going to be a lot easier on you. Yes, it is a slow process, but that's fitness. You buy in for the long term if you want to build a good physique. There are no shortcuts to this. There are no quick fixes. And unfortunately, if you try to take them, you're likely going to fail. So commit to the lifestyle, enjoy the process as you go, and remember, consistency is king. I hope this video has helped you decide what approach to take next. If you're in need of your own custom training and diet plan tailored towards you, or you want to work with a coach one-on-one through this entire process, go to my website, themusclearchitect.com. All plans are written absolutely from scratch and tailored towards each individual client and their needs. So you can be assured you're getting that one-to-one attention to reach your goals. If you found this video useful, or if you want to discuss anything, leave a comment down below, like this video, subscribe for more, and I'll see you in the next one.